We're ready.
We're going to record this.
We're going to record it. We're going to get it out on our website so that the people who aren't here who need this information will be able to get it. Ready? Here. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to thank everyone from FEMA that came tonight, the residents that are here this evening. As I introduced myself, I'm Ron Freeman. I'm the mayor of Mount Olive Township, and we are recording this so that we can put it up actually on our website, our township website, so that those who are not able to make it this evening can get the appropriate information in terms of the different programs that are available to them through FEMA. At this point, I would like to call Richard, Intergovernmental Affairs from FEMA, to start the presentation. Thank you very much.
So I'll speak to this side of the room since this is where the residents are. I want to talk about the individual assistance program. When the president made his declaration of a major disaster, he authorized 3 programs, but one is specific to individuals and households, and that's the individual assistance program. And it's to help residents recover from losses or damages that they sustain because of the disaster event, in this case the hurricane. There are 3 ways that you can register. The first way is 1-800-621-3362. That's a toll-free number that you can register with FEMA to get assistance. The second way is www.disasterassistance.gov. So the internet is the second way. The third way is to go to a disaster recovery center. We call them DRCs, somewhere in your area. Now there are 3 in this area, and they're pretty much equidistant to this community. So you can go on the internet and identify where those are. We're happy to talk to you and show you where those are as well. So those are the 3 primary ways to do it. The nice thing about the Disaster Recovery Center, you can get to one of them. You'll still be filling out the application much like you would on the internet. You got experts in the room sitting there with you, helping you, walking you through that. So it's nice to talk to a real human being, and that's where you can do that. Certainly you talk to a real human being on the phone, but again, it's sometimes nice to see them in person. So those are the 3 primary ways to register for FEMA assistance. Now, one of the first questions they're going to ask you, other than what's your name, what's your phone number, what's your address, is, do you have insurance? If you have insurance, that's great. And one of the reasons why we need to know if you have insurance is FEMA is not authorized to duplicate any benefits that you might get from other sources, such as an insurance policy. So we are going to need to know what your insurance will cover and what it will not cover. And then FEMA will look at that component that's not covered and see if we can help you out with that. We don't provide assistance for everything. So if you lost a pool table because some of the damage to your home, that's not what we're going to look at. We're going to look at what it takes to get you back into a safe and sanitary living condition. So if we're talking about walls, ceilings, windows, doors, things, structural things of that nature, that's the first thing that FEMA is going to look at. Obviously, if you have homeowners insurance, that will cover much of it, but FEMA can help with the uninsured losses or the underinsured losses of those natures. Sometimes you have substantial damages, such as some of the structural things that we talked about before, utilities, hot water heater, boiler, furnace, things of those nature. If you have substantial losses, then what we're going to do is refer you to the Small Business Administration. But before we get to that, I'm going to talk to you about a few more steps. So there's a couple steps here. There's the registration with FEMA, and FEMA taking a look at your housing situation, your immediate housing needs, and what it takes to get you back into good shape. We will send we will refer an inspector to come out and visit with you. An inspector will schedule an appointment with you, come out and verify the damages. We want to make sure that the things that you reported are included on the final assessment, but we also want to make sure that we include everything that was damaged. Sometimes homeowners have damages they don't think would qualify, or they don't think that's much of a big deal. We want to make sure that we identify all the potential damages that we could include, so that we can make sure that we get all the assistance to you that you qualify for. So they will call you, schedule an appointment, come by, verify those damages, and then they'll send their report back to FEMA, and FEMA will make a determination sometimes what happens is when they've got all that information, FEMA will send you a letter saying that you aren't eligible for certain assistance. And that won't make any sense to you. Wait a minute, I do have damages, why am I not eligible? Oftentimes when you get those letters indicating that you're ineligible for assistance, it's not because you're actually ineligible, it's because we're missing a nugget of information that we need to complete your application, such as your insurance claim. So the first call you should really make is to your insurance company and get them out there, get the adjuster out there, get them to inspect it, and give you something in writing as to what your policy will and will not cover. That takes time. In the meantime, you've also hopefully registered with FEMA, and a FEMA inspectors come out to verify damages and submit their report. So if your FEMA process moves quicker than your insurance process, you'll get a denial letter, and that's all right. Don't panic. What you'll need to do is gather up that insurance information and submit it to FEMA. Now, the neat thing about the 800 number and the disaster recovery centers is they're not only places to register, but they're also places to follow up. At any time you have a question about a correspondence that came to you from FEMA, or about a step in the process, or something that just doesn't make sense to you, or if you haven't heard from an inspector to schedule an appointment, if anything goofy is going on, or you're just not quite sure how it works out, call that number, stop by a DRC, ask the questions, they can help you out. So it's a great number to keep handy, so you can keep referring back, keep up with the process, and make sure everything's moving as it should be. So as I said before, you'll register, an inspector will schedule an appointment, they'll come out and verify damages, and you'll get some sort of a notice from FEMA indicating what we can or can't help you out with at this stage. If you have substantial damages, again, we'll refer you to the Small Business Administration. And this time, I'd like to invite the Small Business Administration up to talk about their piece in the process.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Garth McDonald, and I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration. Within the Small Business Administration, we have an Office of Disaster Assistance. So many people have heard of the Small Business Administration, and they know basically that it helps with startup businesses. That's the regular Small Business Administration that's here in the state with district offices, and we'll be here after us disaster employees are long gone. But our Office of Disaster Assistance is a special part of our agency that's mandated by the federal government, part of the federal disaster assistance. And what we do is we offer low-interest disaster loans, but not just to businesses. We offer low-interest disaster loans to homeowners, to renters, to businesses of all sizes, to private nonprofit organizations. So these low-interest loans are designed to help people get as close to pre-disaster condition as possible. There's a few facets of the loan programs I'll go over briefly. I'm going to provide some information to the mayor as well that can be linked to the website, and I'll give some contact information. The low-interest loans that we offer for homeowners are for repairs or replacement for physical damage to their primary residence. Folks can borrow up to $200,000, anything that's uninsured or underinsured, for damage to their primary residence, which has some inclusions for things, some small amounts for landscaping, some yard materials like fences, things like that. Some of those issues in this particular hurricane that's affected the region here near Mount Olive, there's a lot of tree damage. Some of the trees fell on houses and did major damage. Some maybe have destroyed automobiles. Anything that's uninsured, folks can borrow to repair or replace some of their personal property as well. So for homeowners and renters, folks can borrow up to $40,000 for losses of personal property, which includes automobiles. It could include yard furniture that got destroyed because of the storm. So homeowners borrow up to $200,000 for their primary residence. Homeowners and renters can borrow for personal property losses. And the interest rate is as low as 1.688%. That's a fixed interest rate, and it's basically below market interest rates subsidized by the federal government. And because of that, There's no cost to apply. It can be a fixed, it can be a term of up to 30 years, depending on what payment the applicant can afford. We're going to determine how much their losses are, how much their borrowing interest is. Once it's determined, we can make a term that fits within what they can afford. So we have some extra, flexibility that a bank may not have. So we highly recommend that everybody registers with FEMA. As was mentioned, most commonly call 1-800-621-3362 or go to disasterassistance.gov. Registering with FEMA for homeowners and renters will, in many cases, automatically cause an SBA application to be sent to them. And many folks get this manila envelope in the mail, look at it, it says Small Business Administration, and they say, this must be a mistake, I'm not a business owner, I don't need this extra paperwork. But that's where we're continually trying to get the message out. Homeowners and renters, as well as small businesses, businesses of all sizes, private nonprofits, can utilize these low interest loans. For businesses, there may be some businesses impacted. A lot of the problem with Sandy in certain parts of New Jersey was for power outages for extended periods of time. That causes problems for homeowners, but it also causes problems for businesses not being able to operate, loss of inventory. So there, in addition to physical damage that a business might suffer from Sandy, we also offer economic injury disaster loans, which are a form of working capital funds to keep the business surviving through this recovery period until business hopefully gets back to normal. Now, this was such a major impact to the East Coast that some ports were closed. Some businesses may feel this economic injury for a period of time to come still. Their biggest customers might have been destroyed in other locations in the state or in the Northeast. They may have lost some of their largest Christmas orders. It may be an economic ripple that's felt for many months to come. So we highly recommend that any folks that, as you're talking to your community, you're talking to friends, even if it's a sole proprietorship business, an individual person, they have had most likely an economic impact. So let people know, and they can come to the township website, look at this video. There'll be some links there. I recommend for more research, besides registering with FEMA, we also offer a lot of information at www.sba.gov. And to make it real easy, you put 1/ and type in the word Sandy. So sba.gov/Sandy, and there's links to New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, all the information for this particular hurricane event. And you'll find locations there listed, updated on a daily basis, where FEMA personnel and SBA loan representatives are there to work with you folks that are impacted face to face. We're going to take the time to sit down, answer your questions, help you with the package. You may visit a few times. We'll package up your loan application and ship it in for you to be processed. You don't have to pay for this loan application. You don't have to take the money even if you're approved. In many times, folks, with the economy the way it's been for years and some of the situations that folks find themselves in, we may not be able to offer them a loan because we're not going to put debt on someone that they can't afford. In that case, in most of those cases, the homeowners and renters are automatically referred back to FEMA for some other assistance that will be discussed in just a moment. So the key message is that I'd like to convey is spread the word that SBA loans are available for homeowners, renters, businesses. They're government direct loans with very fair terms to try to help people recover as close as possible. Our folks are going to do everything within the guidelines and the regulations of what we can offer loans for to get any applicants qualified. That's our goal. We're trying to get people qualified not trying to turn them down or look out for ways not to offer them these loans. And the last thing I'll mention, and this information sheet that I have should be posted on the website, but any questions about locations, just basic questions about the application, folks can go to our website, as I mentioned, and they can call 1-800-659-2955, and that's our customer service folks. They can give you whatever information you're looking for. Again, that's 1-800-659-2955. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So to recap and bring us up to speed, first stop is insurance. Find out what they can cover. If they can't cover everything, or if there's certain parts of the coverage that won't be addressed, you'll also register with FEMA, and FEMA provides assistance in the form of grants. And that's one distinction between FEMA and the SBA. FEMA dollars are grant dollars, SBA dollars are loan dollars.
And I just wanted to add one thing while you're here, is I meant to say, the folks that have damage don't have to wait for their insurance to settle. With the SBA loans, you should pursue your insurance claim, but we can get funds in the hands of borrowers to recover, and if an insurance claim comes in later, that money can go to pay off your loan with the SBA. In many cases, prior to you maybe even having to make a payment on your loan with the SBA, because there's a deferral period. So don't wait for your insurance claim to fully settle. We can get you funds to rebuild, recover, get you some economic funds if you're a small business or a business in general. And small businesses, small agriculture cooperatives, there's a variety of small businesses that are eligible for economic injury loans. And so we don't want people to wait. We want to get funds into the community. FEMA's already gotten a lot of money for housing out there. And our goal as federal agencies is to keep the community together and get it in the recovery process as quickly as possible.
Thanks. So you have insurance, you'll have the FEMA registration, somebody come out to verify the damages. You'll receive a letter saying here's some assistance that FEMA can help you out with in the immediate near term to address some housing issues. If your needs are substantial or otherwise, you'll get a packet from the SBA to fill out that loan. Again, please don't let the SBA name fool you. They can help you help individuals in disasters, and they're authorized by Congress to do so. If for some reason you don't qualify for an SBA loan, you can then be referred back to FEMA for the third step. FEMA, SBA, back to FEMA. That third step is what we call other needs assistance. Other needs assistance addresses the loss of personal property, transportation needs, and a number of other similar needs. So if you don't complete the SBA process, however, you cannot get to that other needs assistance category. A lot of people will get that SBA packet, look at it, think I'm not a business, or I don't want a loan, or I don't understand how this works. They'll wad it up, throw it out, and they'll usually end up leaving money on the table that they otherwise could have qualified for had they gone through the process. So we encourage everybody, fill out the paperwork, go through the process. If you need assistance filling out the paperwork, we have resources available at these disaster recovery centers to assist you with that. Go through the process. One other thing I wanted to note before we wrap up is the maximum amount of a FEMA grant that anyone can get under the rosiest of scenarios is $31,900. The average is $5,000 to $7,000. And the reason why the average is much lower than the maximum is usually because it doesn't take a substantial amount of money to get most survivors back into a safe and sanitary living condition. Usually it's just some minor structural damage or a loss of a boiler or a hot water heater. Those don't cost $30,000 in most cases. They usually cost a couple $1,000. We can get your living condition back in a safe and sound place. So those are just a few things to keep in mind. Again, file with your insurance, register with FEMA, fill out the SBA paperwork, go through the whole steps of the process. If you do qualify for an SBA loan, that's where the federal assistance will take you. Those should take that loan should take care of your needs. You can't get to the other needs assistance if you financially qualify for an SBA loan. So go through the process. If you ever have any questions about the status of your case, options that you may have, please call that 800 number or go to Disaster Recovery Center and they can answer specific questions specific to your case. Thank you very much. And we're going to do questions just one-on-one.
Yeah, the FEMA grant scenario.
Yeah.
Is it based on an inability to pay an SBA loan? Is that what?
The first stop is the housing,
Right.
housing need. So if you have an immediate housing need or there's some minor housing